Howdy folks, we're here, we're gonna attempt to fix this 8-gallon air compressor. Now the thing is, this is a 15 amp circuit breaker. I went with a 20. I should have probably went with the 15, but I went with the 20. We're going to put a new circuit breaker in. I did the legwork on this because this actually, it seems simple enough, but it does take time. Pretty much, it's these rings here that you got to take off. Realistically, folks, these rings, if you've had it in any sort of weather, they like to stick on to it, so expect to get yourself a good pair of pliers to get these things off. These ain't gonna come off by hand, sadly. So now what I suspect went wrong was the original start capacitor. This is the original start capacitor. This is the new one that we got. In overall size and shape, it's different size, but it'll do the same job. If the labeling on the original was correct, this should be the right capacitor. This one's 130 farad capacitor, rated for 50 or 60 hertz AC, 250 volts AC. Same way with this one. Why are they different sized? It could just be down to the way that they're constructed. Okay, cheaper unit, and to show the cheapness, this one's only got 2 pins. This one's got 4. Now the way that they had this one connected, you know, it would sit up here and it was screwed on. Well, these screws are not going to go through the little holes in the new capacitor, so if you're going to use the similar capacitor to what I'm using, you're going to have to get yourself some quick disconnects. These ones are the expensive ones, okay? This package of 10 cost me darn near 15 bucks. So but they're UL CSA listed, so all good stuff. So one thing about it is you're gonna have to cut your old connectors off. So now this is stranded wire, but it's the fact that, whoa, okay, it's stranded wire, but we're gonna throw some solder on it, even though the connectors say only used for stranded copper. We're pretty much not going to make this stranded anymore. Come on. I think my tool's going to heck on me. We're going to open up these, find out how much copper wire it's going to want. Now these, like I said, these are the nice ones. These have the heat shrink tubing on them. So okay. That should be enough stranded copper hanging out. Now, like I said, we're going to do a little soldering. Now, I'm using leaded solder. You folks can use whatever the heck you want, but I'm using leaded solder. I don't care. Now, this is the lengthy part of the video. I'm actually going to stick that in there, heat that the hell up. You know, this thing's a neat tool to have lying around. Give me a sec here, folks. I gotta go answer that phone. Be right back. Okay, sorry about that, folks. I had to take that phone call. Nope. Now, where were we? I guess we were heating up this. Stranded wire. You know, and I guess a lot of people don't get the concept of this hole. You know, it is, yes, it is an exhaust hole. But the thing is that you can also use it on these large conduit wires. Now, I get it. Some of you are going to say, well, you know, you've just wrecked the motor. Because, you know, you've gotten the wire so hot. Realistically, folks, if you can touch it up in here and it's barely hot, it's not hot in the motor. So don't worry, you know. If you've got good hands, you'll know right away. You know, I mean, if it's warm up in here, yeah. Now, see if I can get more solder flowing in there. Because realistically, this thing is going to see some elements. You know, and there we go. And now we make the crimp connection. I'm going to put the cap on that. And we're going to actually... Oh. This was what I was afraid of. Sometimes, folks, when you solder the wire, it gets a little embiggened. And sometimes you gotta crimp it back before you can get the connector completely on. Sometimes, though, like what I'm having with this, I'm going to have to come back and I'm going to have to cut just up to there. You know, don't be cutting vast tracts off. And see, realistically, we've already got it tinned here at the very, very end. And that's going to make it really nice for getting in there. Ugh. Why aren't you going in? I've never seen this, folks. Well, you know what? We're going to learn something today. Maybe some of these connectors, you do have to follow the instructions and not solder them. Huh. I've never had this kind of complications before, folks. Because, wow. Okay, well, we're just going to twist the wire. We're going to hope that we can make it work. Okay. Strip it back a little more. Sometimes you got to do that when you're... Whoa. Stripper went a little too far. Well, we'll just trim that. And see, this is why, if it's a good unit, it's got enough wire onto it. If not, you're gonna have to actually... Now, always have your divot at the back end. Is what I've found works the best. And there we go. It's not coming off. Now, to make sure that it never comes off. Hey folks, you're learning this stuff in real time. Realistically, folks, I've never used this brand of connector before. I'm so used to the ones that they sell at the auto parts store. So, and then since these are the self-sealing ones, you know, with the grips and stuff, okay. Now we're going to let that cool. We're going to move on to the next one. Okay, so realistically, I guess, if you got the Molex style, you don't need to. If you've got these auto parts store brand style ones, you probably do need to solder. So, you know, realistically, I guess it comes right down to connector preference. Oh yeah, that's gonna make, because You know, the bracket's going to be way the heck up here. Yeah, with that connector. Now, I get it, that these are not the greatest strippers, wire strippers in the world, but, you know, I'm getting up there in age to where I don't want to use my teeth anymore. Right. You know, not that I recommend you actually use your teeth, but, you know, I have done it in the past, you know. I think we've all done stupid things in the past, so... There we go. Twist those strands in there. Get them in there nice and tight. Now, that one's already rock hard. That one's solid. Ready to go. Now, this one, like I said, and usually the way that they make them, if you look in here, let me grab one. If you look in here, and you see where the flat part is, that corresponds to the flat part there. The crimp section, the part that's been rolled over inside the connector, usually is in the open section. You know, just something I've learned through the years. And you want your pinching side on the side that's not been crimped. I do not like that crimp job. No, 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 sir. No, no, no. Let's open that up then. Let's give it a good pinch. Okay, it's a lot better now. Now, on some connectors, you're gonna have to go around. So, like, if you're using a butane torch like this, don't have it where it'll actually spit flames. And usually the way that you do that is to get it to and voila. Now, these two white ones, remember that they go together. So, on the one side of the start capacitor, you're going to want to connect these together. Now, I'm going to show you folks Oh boy. Let me grab by you right quick. Oh yeah. Gotta grab a slicing tool and get these heat shrink tubes off. Now, these connectors, the ring terminals, they were actually done with this heat shrink. So, don't think that alright. And these are just, you know, staked onto these connectors. Now, yes, on I need to get a new blade for the cutter. On these, you know, they're screwed in. These have the blades. So we're going to be putting the blade style connectors on. So I'm going to put all the connectors on and then bring you back, and I'm going to show you how we hook everything up, because you've already seen me do it twice. I'll show you how to where everything plugs in. Alright, we're back. We're gonna, as you can tell, I got all the connectors on. What we're gonna do is the black ones down here, these go into the circuit breaker. So we're just gonna plug these in. It doesn't matter where these black ones go, because as long as they're out of the way of the fan, they're, you know, somewhat tucked up in here. We'll probably get a new zip tie and zip tie that together. Now, the start capacitor. The start capacitor is comes on this bracket. Okay, the original bracket. This is the original bracket for it. So we're gonna attempt to put this up in here, and yeah. Alright, one side goes there. Now you gotta have both of these whites on the same leg as, okay, and the yellow one goes on the other side of the start capacitor. So let me get you a better shot here, folks. White, white, yellow on the other side. Black, black, and tuck those in, tuck those in. So, now, we're going to test it. Okay. Should be in the off position. Okay. Alright, now we have a working compressor again. Awesome. Now we're going to test the safety. Nope. Awesome. Well, now, there is a lot of dangers into doing electrical. You know, electrical shock, there's always that. But you know, I just thought I'd show this to you folks because realistically, you know, even though I bought expensive connectors and I paid dearly for shipping from an industrial supplier to get this capacitor and this circuit breaker, what I paid for these more than, let's see if it's got air. Ooh, and it's building air, nice. More than paid for this compressor, because realistically, folks, right now, you go out and you look at an 8-gallon compressor, even at Walmart, you're looking at $330. I spent, with shipping from an industrial supplier, $70, so, you know, and that's with shipping. A little bit of time, you know, you can fix things, folks. That's one big thing. And this is why I'm such a stickler when it comes to right to repair laws, because realistically, folks, we need to start repairing stuff. We need to quit the mentality of chucking stuff away. Stuff that can be easily fixed, you know, you don't have to go and spend oodles and oodles of money to go buy a new one when you can just buy parts. So, I hope you learned something. I did. I learned that the Molex brand Permaseal quick disconnects, you don't actually have to solder, because I'm so used to the auto parts store brands where they seem to work a little better when you solder them, especially when it comes to you know, I don't know, I wouldn't want to say thinner gauge, but thinner stranded wire. They seem to like a little bit of solder. Not a lot. I think I put way too much, but yeah. Stay safe out there. I hope this gave you some ideas on what you can do. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.